On yesterday's show, this is a follow-up. Zohran Mamdani was threatened by Donald Trump to face deportation because of, I guess, his political views. Now, I'm going to play this video from Zohran Mamdani, and I want to be very clear because I'm going to save my comments at the end. So let's go ahead and play this video and share it with all of you. Zohran Mamdani responds to Trump's threats of deportation.
Yesterday, Donald Trump said that I should be arrested. He said that I should be deported. He said that I should be denaturalized. And he said those things about me, someone who stands to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations, someone who would also be the first Muslim and the first South Asian mayor in this city's history. Less so because of who I am, because of where I come from, because of how I look or how I speak, and more so because he wants to distract from what I fight for. I fight for working people. I fight for the very people that have been priced out of this city, and I fight for the same people that he said he was fighting for. This is the same president who ran on a campaign of cheaper groceries, who ran on a campaign about easing a suffocating cost of living crisis. And ultimately, it is easier for him to fan the flames of division than to acknowledge the ways in which he has betrayed those working class Americans, not just in this city, but across this country, and the ways in which he continues to betray them. Because we know that he would rather speak about me than speak about the legislation that he is shepherding through Washington, D.C. Legislation that will quite literally take healthcare away from Americans. Legislation that will steal food from the hungry. Legislation that looks to build upon one of the largest transfers of wealth we've seen in recent history in his first administration and do it once again for the very Americans who already have enough. We should be fighting for those that do not have what they need to live a dignified life. That is what I will do, and I am thankful to have the protection and to have the support of so many New Yorkers who have stood up and said how unacceptable this is, including our governor, including members of the labor movement. And ultimately, what I fear for is that if this is what Donald Trump and his administration feel comfortable about saying about the Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City, imagine what they feel comfortable saying and doing about immigrants whose names they don't even know.
I want to add this here. Look, in 2024, and look, I was against it. Doesn't mean I support Donald Trump at all because I saw this happen to third parties. All right. Now, Hardlands Media, we've interviewed third-party independent candidates. Larry Sharp, long track record, running as a libertarian in New York State. Jose Vega, running as an independent in New York State for his second run. And I'm pretty sure they could swap war stories, or they could be here and tell you yourselves what it means to run as an independent. And one of the things they had to deal with, as well as other people who we've interviewed as independents, be they Greens, Libertarians, Socialists, non-affiliate, is getting on the ballot, being on a debate stage, or is it at being censored and suppressed by Democrat and Republican lawmakers. Donald Trump in 2024 received an onslaught attack by Democrat lawmakers, state and federal judges trying to kick him off the ballot, trying to censor and suppress him. And look, I could be against Donald Trump, but he has every right to run as a candidate, and this was happening under the Biden-Harris administration. I was against it. I don't like the idea of President Trump even humoring the idea of trying to threaten or deport him, have him face legal consequences. I mean, Donald Trump, you went through some legal consequences. Hell, I felt sorry for you. I still do. I thought those legal things that Donald Trump was facing off against were bullshit, and I gave a warning that if he was able to walk out of those things, he was going to come after the Democrats like he did. But his actions here are very hypocritical because what was used against him is he now, threatening or humoring the idea to use against Zohran Mamdani. And no, this isn't in defense of Zohran Mamdani because he's running as a Democrat. And, I'm still keeping the distance. And I know there's a lot of people in my audience saying, Kit, give him a chance. Give him a chance. Guys, you're better people than me, okay? I can't put my full stock into these politicians because I know where this leads to. But I also don't like the idea, because I believe in consistency here, of just because someone might think differently than you, politically differently than me, or anybody else, they have a right to speak out. Here in Chicago, we have Flip Chicago Red, or Chicago Flips Red. They have, I first of all, while I may not agree with all their policies, I am very excited and happy to see what they've been able to achieve that hasn't been seen in decades, since my great grandfather's time, my grandfather's time, my mother's time. And here, I get to witness it. Of the past 3 generations, I, Kit Adrian Cabello, witnessed in Chicago 2 districts flip red, and they have every right to run for office, and they have every right to weigh in on the 2027 city election. But I want to see consistency. I don't like seeing presidential, U.S. Senate, U.S. House Representatives, state senators, House Representatives, mayoral candidates, all of that going after each other, saying, well, that candidate shouldn't be on the debate stage. That person shouldn't be there. That person shouldn't be there because they think differently or their background. That's not right. And it's very hypocritical. I want to pull this article up here as well, just so everyone can witness it as well, because I think this is what's going to be one of the main things that Mamdani is going to be running on, at least trying to be resistant against Trump. And this is another reason why I'm hesitant to support anyone in the Democrat Party, because it always revolves down to resisting Trump, resisting Trump, resisting Trump. And that's not a good policy. All right. Because one day Donald Trump's going to be gone. And I don't want to hear this crap about his son running for office. Until his son decides to run for office, I'm not going to weigh in on it, but then it's going to be more of the same. Oh, no, we got to stop Trump. Which one? President Trump is ramping up his attacks on one of the GOP's newest targets, New York City's progressive mayoral candidate, Zohran Mamdani. What's happening is the 33-year-old Democrat primary winner in New York City's mayoral primary has been hit with a barrage of attacks from the right since his win, with Trump and others attempting to frame him as a new face of radical Democrats. In social media posts after former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo conceded the race to Mamdani, who electrified young multiracial coalition in the primary, Trump blasted him as a 100% communist lunatic and our future communist mayor of New York City. Mamdani has said that he is Donald Trump's worst nightmare, and the president's barrage of attacks does little to dispute that. In a vague True Social post Wednesday, Trump vowed he would not let this communist lunatic destroy New York, saying he holds all the levers and all the cards. He continued, "I'll save New York City and make it hot and great." Oh, God. I'll make it hot and great again, just like I did with good old USA. Ugh. Okay, everyone, try not to vomit in your brain. Trump on Tuesday said he would arrest Mamdani if he doesn't allow federal immigration officials to arrest immigrants in the city. Mamdani vowed in a speech after a historic victory to stop masked ICE agents from deporting our neighbors. Asked for his response, Trump replied, "Well then, I'll have to arrest them." He also basically questioned Mamdani's citizenship status on Tuesday, saying, "A lot of people are saying he's here illegally. Mamdani was born in Uganda and became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 2018. In an interview aired Sunday on Fox News, Sunday Morning Futures, Trump doubled down on his prior assertion that Mamdani is a communist, which Mamdani has denied. Okay, he's with DSA. You should be clear on that. And said the Democrat nominee must do the right thing if he's elected, or he'll withhold federal funding. Trump's war of words and threats have been mostly one-sided, though Mamdani has pushed back, as we played in that video. But also, here's the red flag here. Here's where I'm getting a little worried. New York Democrats have lined up to defend Mamdani from Trump, even if they don't endorse him. Case in point right here. The danger, the situation. New York Democrats who haven't endorsed Zohran Mamdani are jumping in to defend the Democrat nominee from the mayor, for the mayor of New York City from attacks lobbied by President Donald Trump. So who's helping them out here, okay? It's a who's of Democrats now, even though they haven't endorsed them. So you got New York Governor Kathy Hochul, you got House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who have pushed back. I don't care if you're the president of the United States, if you threaten or to unlawfully go after one of our neighbors, you're picking a fight with 20 million New Yorkers, starting with me, Hochul wrote on a post on X, alongside a video of Trump implying Mamdani could be in the country illegally. This is where we've seen the tactic of, okay, Mamdani, you want to be part of the Democrat Party, you got to play ball with us. I've seen this before. I've seen this story before, and it's never fun. It's never fun because then they get hijacked, you know, and a lot of promises that are made never come into fruition, or it's a glass half empty. or half full. Your choice. No such thing as a wrong answer. Also, Hakeem Jeffries also wrote about Mamdani. Stop lying about Assemblyman Mamdani. He's neither a communist nor a lunatic, and New York City doesn't need to be saved by a wannabe king. Besides, you're too busy destroying America with your one big ugly bill to do anything else. By the way, Hakeem Jeffries, you did nobody any favors with your epic grandstanding last night. So these are all the major New Yorkers. Of course, then up. I almost forgot him. Jose Vega's best friend in the whole wide world, Representative Richie Torres, another centrist Democrat who has expressed reservations about Mamdani's candidacy, also pushed back on Trump's comments on a post on Wednesday for a sitting president to casually threaten to arrest and deport U.S. citizen who won a major party nomination is disgraceful. Free societies do not arrest, deport, or otherwise weaponize government against their political opponents. To which I have to say, Richie Torres, I don't think you remember the Biden-Harris years where independent media was censored, where journalists and whistleblowers were detained and arrested, where migrants were also detained and arrested, but somehow also invited in through sanctuary cities. And also during the 2024 election cycle, in which not only there was a Democrat primary heavily rigged for a senile old goat, but the Democrats, and of course, a little bit by proxy at the state level with Republicans, were stopping third-party candidates like RFK Jr., Jill Stein, Cornel West, the Libertarians, and all that wonderful jazz. I mean, I remember that. And not to mention even stopping Donald Trump from running for office. I mean, it seems like I'm the only person here that remembers certain things. It seems to me like I'm the only person that seems to remember how the Democrats were conducting themselves. And so everything that Trump is doing, it's like that kid who's learning how to be violent. Where'd you learn to swear? Where'd you learn to drink beer? Where'd you learn to smoke cigarettes? I learned it from watching you, Dad. Trump learned it from the Democrats. Why? Just don't forget, he used to be a Democrat. He used to donate to Democrats. Then he donated to Republicans, and then he threw his hat in the ring running for politics. Isn't that fun? Isn't that special? So Mamdani's pushing back, as he should, But I fear that the bigger picture is going to be ignored, and that is you have a Democrat candidate who clearly won a significant primary, now has to face off against Trump. And here's the one thing that Democrats like. They like fundraising off of Trump. Mamdani's a popular name. And if the Democrat strategists are smart, now again, I said the word smart, they would capitalize on the, fight the oligarchy tour, as well as Mamdani's popularity. Andrew Cuomo failed miserably. Now, the establishment could still weigh in and either help Eric Adams or either that Andrew Cuomo, if his campaign is able to recover, especially after losing a primary in which polling data was showing him as the eventual winner, which, again, the voters of New York City said, no way, no bueno. There is a concern of Mamdani just being co-opted and taken over by the Democrats, which Blue Moon Red Wine, Sabby Sabs, and Fiorella Isabel have done a fantastic job in breaking down. By the way, huge shout out to Roger Meadows, who's also been sharing information about Mamdani's campaign. I'm not on board with the threats that Donald Trump is making, because what was once done to him, he is now potentially threatening to do to somebody else. That's not democracy. That's not even a constitutional republic. That's something else. But then again, voting in America. I know what Misty Winston would say. Misty would say, there's no way we're voting our way out of it, and none of this is important. And once again, Misty's been proven correct.